The number one way to improve rapidly as a basketball official is analyzing game video. That's what we're going to do today. Let's look at plays. Stick around. Greetings and welcome back to another episode of 5 Play Fridays, the show where we look at plays, analyze, positioning of the officials, call correct, working the system, all of the elements, positives, negatives, take from them what we can so that we can get better as basketball officials. Greetings again, everybody. My name is Greg Alston with abetterofficial.com. We craft video to help basketball officials get better and take control of their officiating career. Analyzing game video is our number one way to improvement. That's what this show is all about. Before we get started, maybe take a moment, like, subscribe, notify, but also share the video with other basketball officials who could find value as well so that we can all get better together. Fantastic. Always have to give a shout out to our fantastic show supporters, without whom the show would not be possible. Kevin Swan, Thomas Lyons, Marlin Dayoub, David Becker, David York, and Gregg Becker. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show, you can always buy us a coffee. There will be a link above and in the show notes below. Awesome. Okay, today we're getting started. We're going to look at plays, miscellaneous plays, take from them what we can. Let's get started with our very first play scenario. Here. That's okay. There. All right. Right. So, let's notice the key element. When does a throw-in begin after a made goal? Right? Let's start there. The throw-in begins when the ball is at the disposal of the player and the official begins their count. Did the official begin her count on this play? That's the key thing. Once that happens, the throw-in has begun and restrictions apply. Okay? So the actual violation on this play, if we look closely, either the thrower carries the ball onto the court or they pass it to a player. If we take this, they pass it to a player who has inbound status, catches the ball, and steps out of bounds. It would appear to be what we have here. We have an out of bounds violation on the throw-in. Always an awkward moment. We usually raise a hand to stop clock, even though the clock is not actually running. We don't have that here. Great demeanor by the official. She has a violation, right? Once that throw-in begins, that's the key element to the play. The player doesn't know that, and it passes to a teammate. Violation by rule. Call correct by the official. Excellent. Right? A simple play, but one that really hammers home when a throw-in begins after a scored goal. Something we want to look at in our own game video is, do we properly begin the throw-in count after each scored goal at the appropriate time, etc.? It's a habit we need to have built into our game. So this is a great play to just remind us of what good looks like. All right, fantastic. Let's look at play number 2. All right, very familiar, similar looking play, but what's the difference on this one, right? With all of the restarts in the game of basketball, there is a special set of rules and restrictions, right? During a throw-in, during a jump ball, during a free throw. The restrictions apply during that event. We need to know when the event begins and when the event ends so that we can properly add those rules into the game. When does a throw-in begin? It begins when it's at the disposal of the thrower. If we take a look at this play, it's possible to make an interpretation that when the first player here right here grabs the ball is at the disposal of the team and the official could begin a count. I think that would be erroneous. But then she tosses the ball to a teammate who fumbles the ball onto the court. This is not a throw-in violation by rule. We have not had a throw-in pass. We have not had a player controlling the ball prior to the throw-in. Do we begin a count? We do, but erroneously, right? The count began when the ball was passed from one player to the other. Just not feeling this is an accurate ruling on this play. We've had a couple of throw-in plays. Let's take a look at some screening plays. Let's look at play number 3. All right. Clip from a couple of years ago, so we got one-handed reporting by the official. But let's, first of all, look at the legality of the screen. Let's look at the legality of the screen. Position of the official, right? Shoulder 45 degrees, has a good look at the play, sees the screener, right? The on-ball defense is not intense, has the ability to take in more information. We got screening action, top of the key, right? The player leans outside their frame and extends an arm on the defender, right? Simple call, easy call if we are looking at the right things. Very straightforward call and easy. So, but what else can we take away from the play? This is a two-person game. We got the indication for a team control foul. Again, this is from a previous season. Of course, we have a new signal, NFHS, for both for team control, which is the old player control signal. But what do we have? We have a call, indication, designate the spot. National Federation of High School Mechanics, we are going to switch all fouls. This crew properly switches. Everybody knows what they're going to do next, right? Our crew is moving effectively on the play. See a lot of situations here where the new trail wants to come over and bump the calling official, right? Where they take their eyes off players, the calling official has to run across at an awkward angle, etc. So this is properly switched by National Federation of High School Mechanics. Illegal screen, proper signal, designate the spot, observe players, and then go. You can always embellish by indicating what kind of team control foul it is. That's our option as a officials and National Federation of High School Basketball rules. But this would be an example of handling properly by NFHS rules. Always a key point to remember is first half screening is in front of the defensive coach. They see all illegal screens. They see some incidental contact on screens and sometimes think that they have an illegal screen, but they will not miss an illegal screen in the first half. They've got a front row seat and they are focused on that action. That's one screening play. Let's take a look at our very next play, also a screening play. Right. So we've got a handoff screener. Handoff plows over the defender who doesn't anticipate the screen, etc. This is a moving screen. This is a situation where the screener, even if they did, they did stop, they did not give the defensive player an opportunity to avoid the screen. Again, first half action. Does the head coach see this play? Yes. Does he recognize that it was an illegal screen? Yes. First half, illegal screens, the coaches will always see the play. Now, what's our coverage on this play? Is this a two official play? Should the lead have something here? We don't want to miss an obvious foul, right? This is a little bit in a corner in front of the trail official. This is a three-person game. And the lead has post-action, right? So we can understand lead is focusing on post-action here. So we can understand why they were not aware of players moving off ball, a non-competitive matchup moving off ball. So trail's really kind of on an island here. It'd be difficult for the center to come across. It'd be difficult for the lead to come late if they didn't actually see the play occur, didn't see the timing. But I think we missed a foul here on this play. So a screener must allow the opponent time and distance to avoid the screen. That's the responsibility of the screener. They can't stop short just prior to contact on a moving opponent. This is an illegal screen by rule. I'm going to go here. This is an illegal screen by rule. We're evaluating multiple things, right? And this is the out of the corner of the eye play. Like we've transferred our eyes to the ball to the player who gets the ball on the handoff and picking up a secondary defender. But there is no secondary defender on this play. There's no, the primary defender on the ball handler originally goes with the player. And the defender of the player who gets the handoff is nowhere to be seen. We could start, processing, even if we didn't have a clear view of the action, we could start processing and always come late here with a whistle. Always. Don't have to think, but of course, then again, when we're on the court, that half a second where we don't put a whistle on a play seems like an eternity, and we have to recognize that. And that's one of the things for younger officials is becoming more and more comfortable with that small interval of time that occurs. A foul, a potential foul has occurred. Our brain says, oh, that is a foul or that is a violation, but oh my gosh, so much time has passed since it occurred. I feel like I can't put a whistle on it now. I should have, but I didn't. And now the sort of like the time to take action has passed, right? As we become more experienced, we recognize, hey, I can own that. I can own that half second. I can own that second. I can own that second and a half. I can own that 2 seconds. I can feel comfortable knowing that the correct call was made, and I can work my way through that. Anybody comes and says, oh my gosh, you can't call that now, that's too late, right? The call correct, right? And being comfortable in that situation is a really important milestone for young officials. When they pass that, they are empowered, they're more confident, etc., to adjudicate plays. So we could definitely come late with a call on this play as trail. All right, we've had two screening plays. Let's take a look at one more screening play, play number 5. Couple of interesting things here. First of all, here's our illegal screen monitor. This guy down here on the first screening action, even though there's no contact, he makes a gesture like, "Hey, look at that! Hey, that player's too wide," or what have you. And then on the resulting screen, so maybe the screening in this play, maybe the screening in this game had been an issue up to this point. But what we have here is some really interesting stuff to look at and can help us get better as basketball officials. We have a question. You have to question whether or not this play is actually officiated. Now, the interesting thing is it's in a part of the court where oftentimes if we're going to have a triple whistle, it's going to be like in the center of the court near the free throw line, etc. This is approximately a situation like that. All 3 officials are probably going to be looking at something relating to this spot on the floor, right? Lead has no competitive matchup. Center has no competitive matchup. Trail has the on-ball action. This could be a 2-official play. But we have player with an extended leg and a defensive player tripping over that leg. This is an illegal screen. This is illegal contact by rule, and we should have a whistle on this play. Couple things to note. One is, and this is something that I definitely struggle with, is our trail official is in great position, and then the ball goes into the corner, and you see how while their position was great for the action at the 28-foot line, which was, a possible gray area play with the center official, they get stuck in that spot and don't stay connected with the game. Don't move down. Don't position adjust after the pass goes to the corner. So that's something to be aware of. Our center official here, somebody has to have this action here at the top of the key, right? This competitive matchup here. I would expect the lead to have this action. And if the lead has nothing else competitive going on, probably had a great look at that play. Would expect this call to come from the lead, but of course our center official has no competitive matchup. I mean, the players are in close proximity. The players are in close proximity over here. But would expect to have an opinion about this screening action up top. And again, this is a play, as if we're an off-ball official, we can process this play. Maybe we're not looking directly at it, but it's in our peripheral and we can recognize what has occurred on the play, etc. Could come late with a whistle here. Okay. So it's a good play to look at who is officiating what, how we're going to move between ball here, ball here, ball here, how we want to process plays. We don't have the complete view because we can't see the lead official on the play, but we have an illegal screen and there's no whistle on the play. So something went amiss with our coverage on the play. We have several things to look at here. One is the original situation here where the ball is picked up by a secondary defender. Let's go back to here where the ball is picked up, right? This action right here where a secondary defender who is the center's official's player picks up our ball handler, right? In California, we don't have closely guarded counts on the girls' side for a closely guarded matchup on a dribbler, only when a player is holding the ball. That's another factor here in terms of our ability to communicate who is officiating what. But this is the center's play now, in my judgment, right? The defender was in the secondary primary. They have an open look on the play. Trail official should focus on what? On this action, start moving and finding something else to officiate. And this would be a great place to start right here. But the trail holds on to the ball, and as a result, we don't see. So we probably had a situation where the center is looking at the on-ball matchup and the trail is looking at the on-ball matchup. And we had no communication between the crew about who's actually going to officiate that play. In this part of the court, that wouldn't be an uncommon scenario. We may see this occur, it's a gray area, and we need to figure out how we're going to communicate as a crew about gray area plays so that we don't have two officials. If we look back at it, what's the temperature of this matchup? This matchup here, it certainly does not need two officials to focus on it, right? If our defender was right up into that ball handler, then we may have, a situation where both officials say, hey, I have to see that, right? And then when the ball comes towards the trail may want to see that play. But we didn't successfully negotiate how we're going to handle this non-competitive matchup. So this is also a situation where, okay, let's say it's early in the game and we see this action, or we have knowledge about this team going into the game. This is a playoff game where we would expect our officials to have some knowledge going into the game about what how the teams operate, et cetera, who the best players are, what kind of actions they run, et cetera, right? If we see this play early in the game, all right, screening the screener, they set a screen and then they set a screen for the screener and they cut off, or the post players set up and then they screen for each other and what have you. We want to recognize those situations. We want to make sure that our crew recognizes those situations so that the next time it happens, we're not surprised, we're ready, we anticipate that the action may be run. So early in the game, if we identify actions run by teams, we want to put it in our memory bank. We want to make sure that our crew is aware. Okay, this is something we could talk about at the first time out, or certainly at halftime, screening the screener action, etc. So we go into the game, we want to be armed with information. Sometimes we don't have any information at all. We show up, we're ready to officiate, and then we just have to observe what the teams are running. In this instance, we'd want to definitely take this action. We may say, hey, I think we missed one in the first half, screening the screener, etc. But this is what we want to do as basketball officials and communicate on the court, make sure we anticipate the play, right? The on-ball matchup on this play, the temperature is low. It is not a super competitive matchup. It is the kind of matchup that is trail we want to expand our view and be aware of more, right? What's going to happen next? And that's something that jumps off when we look at our game video is, are we telescoping on plays? Now, the body position of the official, right, is excellent. She's got 45-degree shoulders. She has an open look on the play, able to take in additional information, etc. Body position is great, but we can recognize that we stayed with a play too long, or we didn't anticipate what was going to happen next. We had 4 eyes on a non-competitive matchup and no eyes on an illegal screen. Let's take a look at a bonus play. All right, two-person game, rebounding action, crash, pass and crash in the back court. What do we have on this play? This is a tough situation. So let's take a look at the position of the crew on this. Trail official, new lead. They can't stay with that action, right? This has to be the old lead, new trail. If we're going to have a whistle on this play, does the play require a whistle? Two players on the floor. Some would say yes, absolutely. Tough play, tough play. Now, a little context on this play. Player in white, coach's son, charge taker all day long. That, in the game, he will try to take a charge half a dozen times. Okay? That's going on in this game. Interesting. We have two players on the floor. I would say we need a whistle on this play. Was the player established prior to the player leaving the floor? This is a super close play. Is that defensive player established prior to the player leaving? By a fraction of a second, probably yes. I know if this play occurs in your game, you're going to have a default, right? Almost all officials are going to have a default. That is, this is a block, right? Didn't give the player an opportunity to land. And they're going to err on the side of a block in this situation. That's a tough call. I would probably go block on this. I think if we look at the video, player was legal before the player left the floor. Tough play, tough call. You want to be consistent about this call in your game. When we go into our game, we want to identify the players, right? The players of interest. This kid is super talented, scorer, etc. This kid does this, etc. A lot of post moves, etc. What have you. We want to have reconnaissance in the game about the players in the game. And if we're going to officiate this team, one thing that we're going to know right off the bat is that this player is crafty. And we need to know how they are positioned. They are going to try to take charges all day long. We anticipate that. We need to make judgments about the legality of their positioning when they do so. Okay. So I've got work to do. But let's go here. Gotcha. Let me just do a quick wrap here of the show, and we'll talk a bit more about that play. Right. Thanks for joining us today on 5 Play Friday. Looking at plays, number one way to improve as basketball officials. Now would be a great time to do all the things. Hit like, subscribe, notify, so you don't miss out on any of our new content. We are live streaming twice a week, every Wednesday, Friday, 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. Come join the live stream so you don't miss out on getting better as basketball officials. Have to thank our show supporters, Kevin Swan, Thomas Lyons, Marlin Dayoub, David York, and Gregg Becker. Much appreciated and much love. You can always buy us a coffee. There'll be a link in the show. There'll be a link above and in the show notes below. As always, we have additional video content for you here. Make your choice. Choose wisely. We'll see you in the very next video. Take care, everybody.